Spreading Krishna consciousness is a matter of the heart. It's not a mental exercise, but it's an overflowing of feeling, of gratitude that one has by getting some mercy. And the mercy comes through the devotees. The devotees distribute the mercy of the Lord to others, and especially the great acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur coming down through our line. He's like the powerhouse that's sending down the Bhakti Shakti and coming down through our disciplic succession through Srila Prabhupada. And then it's present in these books. And so when we read and appreciate and we feel the mercy of these great devotees, then we feel inspired to go out and distribute books. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about some new innovations, at least one new innovation in book distribution. And then we're going to talk about how to distribute books very briefly, because like I said, there's not much to it. It's a matter of inspiration. If you're inspired, for instance, when your house is burning down and you don't speak the language, can you communicate it? Easily, right? Somehow or other, you'll flail your arms or you do whatever you have to do to make it known that your house is burning and you need help. So similarly, if you want to spread Krishna consciousness, if you're feeling inspired, that's all you need, really. And then after a while, Krishna gives us instruction from within how to adjust things so that we can do a more efficient job at presenting, preaching to people. And so the first thing that I want to talk about today is what I promised you, an innovation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is distributebooks.com, where we're compiling a lot of information about book distribution. Mahaprakash Prabhu has been helping me, and others. And it's in its early stages of development because we've got a lot of ideas of how to connect book distributors and help give a resource for everybody else. How's everybody doing, by the way? Is everyone comfortable? Oh. It's a little warm, though, eh? Okay, there's more seats up here, too. In case anybody comes in, just feel free to grab them and move them back so everyone has a seat. Also, we have a new organization which is called Friends of the BBT, and I'm going to hand out some literature that has a brochure and everything about Friends of the BBT, but it's a website, and also they have a newsletter, and it's all about broadcasting the ways in which we can help to distribute the mercy and support Prabhupada's BBT, get more books printed and out to the public. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the smart box, and it's sitting right over here, sort of quietly. Can you see back there, Nandapriya? Everybody else? Okay, well, you'll have a chance to come up and see it. I'm going to hold it up a little bit. It may seem like, here. Now this is a smart box, and this is the smallest model that we have. And right now we have 50 of these placed in different establishments, as you'll see some pictures, around the Silicon Valley area where I live in California. And the smart box is smart because it knows what the people of this age need. They need to have a little knowledge. Lord Caitanya said that when one is wandering in this material world in ignorance, what he or she really needs is somebody to come along and say, you know, you're not poor. You actually have a rich father. And you really don't have no need to suffer. And Lord Caitanya said, instantly, someone can become rich. Just like if I gave someone here $1 million right now, then and instantly your mood might change and your outlook on life. So similarly, when you get spiritual knowledge, then immediately your outlook changes, everything changes. And Lord Chaitanya said it's instantaneous. As soon as you get knowledge that you actually don't belong to this world, that you belong to the spiritual world, then you immediately become inspired to go there, go back home, back to Godhead. So that's why this little box is so smart. It knows all this. And it's just waiting for people to come and take advantage. So here's some of the benefits of the smart box. How are you doing? Can you see? Okay. It distributes books without you being present. How's that? We're trying to make it easier and easier on everybody. It doesn't get much easier than this. It increases devotee interest in book distribution. We have about 30 devotees now at our temple involved in this, and many of them are people who have never been on Sankirtan before, but they love their smart box. They each take it to a local place. I'll tell you more about that. There's a steady income from the books. It does make money. It's very profitable. It involves outside community and distribution of spiritual knowledge. So these little boxes end up in people's stores and places of business where they'll allow them. And boy, if they allow them in, they're the most fortunate person. Just think, they're in there selling this or that, tax service or, you know, cold drinks or something like that. And then all of a sudden, they're marketing the holy name. They're marketing Bhagavad Gita. Now, that's big. Because the Shastra says that anyone who keeps Vaishnava literature in their home, the demigods look down and they worship that place. Shastra says. Anyone who keeps Vaishnava literatures in their home, that's a worshipable home. It's not an ordinary place. So someone has a place of business and they start selling books all of a sudden on Krishna consciousness. There's a change in their life. Immediately everything changes. So these are some of the benefits. There are many, many more, but I'm just breezing through. Fun and exciting, I forgot that. It is fun. Because, you know, when you have a smart box and you put it out in public somewhere, you come home and, you know, whatever you're doing, you brush your teeth, take a nap, and then you're wondering, how's my little smart box doing? Hey, I'm distributing books right now, right? So it is fun and it is exciting. So the first incarnation of the smart box appeared on this earth not too long ago in Alachua, Florida, because of the innovation of this pure devotee here, Mother Akuti, some of you know. And she just heard about the smart box, and she doesn't mess around. When she hears about something, she just goes and does it. You know, she doesn't ask how to, you know, any more instructions. She went and built her own smart boxes in there, started placing them in the Florida in various places. These are a little larger than the smart box here, obviously, and it's time-consuming to build these. They're made out of wood and so on and so forth. So here's the recent incarnation of the smart box, which has just appeared. It's expandable, as all of Krishna's incarnations are expandable. So there are different sizes of the smart box. We like this small size. See, it's a little box, and it has a lock on the back. And you can lock it up. And that's the Lakshmi goes in here in the little slot, and people are used to that. And then on the back here, there's a little insert, a graphic insert. This one says transcendental books, meditation, self-realization, love of God, expand your mind. Then it says, please choose the books you want and place your money in the box. We're following in the footsteps of the smart table. This is actually an offspring of the smart table that you see in the temple room here, which was last year. This table in the temple room, it collected $13,000. Right? So, yes. Oh, she's got the proof here. Here's the paperwork. Okay. More about that in just a few minutes. So it expands. There are a few different models, and you can get bigger racks. The rack is what goes next to it, and we have all the information that you need in the Smart Box Guide. It's a step-by-step guide how to buy a Smart Box online. You can buy it directly. And how to set it up, how to get the graphics are downloadable off the Friends of the BBT website. And then you've got your little racks here. Here's a small rack. There's larger racks also that you can fill up with books. is versatile and easily adaptable, because this is one graphic we have now, and this is the insert, and we're making many more now. Some of them will be adaptable for health food stores, for instance. Some of them maybe might have a tattoo shop look to it. You know, who knows? We could do whatever we want, because we can basically just take this one out and insert the other one within 2 seconds. So you can have any look you want. Fits on checkout counters. Now here's one of our little smart boxes in action. Here's a little supermarket. You see smart box down here at the end? When people are checking out, every good marketer knows, you know, somebody's checking out, they're standing around, they look at the magazine racks, they look at the candy bars, and now they're looking at a Bhagavad Gita or a Perfection of Yoga as they're going down the line. It humbly waits to serve. Here it is. Smart box on another counter. This is this must be an Indian store, because I see like Lakshmi's lotus feet or something here. And it accepts donations. Now that's unique about this, because these books are very valuable, and we like people to give a little donation, because then they get more benefit. In fact, we tell people on Sankirtan, when we ask for donations, sometimes if someone hesitates, I tell them that the only reason we ask, we don't need the money. It's because if you give a donation, you get 1,000 times the benefit. It's an ancient principle called Sukriti. And they say, oh, okay, I'll give for that. And that's the fact. That's why we ask for donations, because they'll value the book much more. Now, people will ask, well, what happens, see, it's on the honor system. What if someone just takes a book? Was anybody going to ask that? Yeah. What was it?
They still benefit.
They still benefit. And now, since it already has a price tag on it, see, this one says $195, thank you. Now, if they happen to take the book, they're going to go home and realize that they got a book that's worth at least $1.95. They feel like they, you know, like they really stole something. But we haven't lost many books. Actually, as a matter of fact, we're doing more than double BBT cost in the boxes, as the price is up there. Yes.
Somebody can't steal the money.
Yeah, someone could steal the money. That could happen too. That's why it's fun and exciting, I told you. But actually they don't. We only had one case of pilfering, because the earlier box that we had a little section you could sort of jimmy a little bit, and someone had gone in there and obviously pulled out a few of the 5s, because we saw them in there and then we came back and then they were, you know. Anyway, we fixed that, because this box locks up, and these two, actually there's these two adheres together, so it becomes one unit. And also, these are in stores, and if they're going to walk off with this, they might as well walk off with other things in the store too. So, okay, make Srila Prabhupada's books visible and available in, see, here's one on the counter, coffee shops. Now, generally, the corporates don't go for it, like the Starbucks and those type of people. They have their bylaws and all these ways of looking sterile and the same as every other place. But the family-owned ones, very happy to put them up on the counter and have a little life to their place, to their organization. Delis, here's one up the counter. How about a hair salon? See? Come in, get your hair cut, and there's your smart box right on the outside. We have them in tax places, tax preparers, any place you can think of, where you just walk in and you talk to the person, and actually people are quite amenable to the suggestion, because it's an attractive thing. And what we tell them, we say, walk in with the box, and we say, these are spiritual books. And what our organization does is we spread spiritual knowledge for the good of society. Because don't you agree it's one of the things lacking in the world today? So we put this on the counter, and the box just takes donations. And we use the money to print more books. And that creates good karma for everybody. And a lot of people just say, sure, put it right over here. Great. And then they're in the club. Okay, hair salons, restaurants. We're finding a lot of restaurants. Start off with Indian stores, places anywhere there's an Indian proprietor. It's practically a free space. As you go in, an Indian tax preparer or restaurant or anything like that, and you get a cross-section of the population, but they're happy to have the Bhagavad Gita there represented, right? So are there any Indian stores near anybody? Raise your hand if you know of an Indian store near you. And if you don't, I don't know where you're from, but It's not near me. Okay, boutiques. Smartbox features. It's easy to assemble. It's really easy. Direct ordering from bmac.com. All the information is in this little packet here of which models to get off of BMAC. Download the graphics from friendsofthebbt.com. It only costs about $15 to $25 per setup. Not bad. Sells about 5 to 20 books a week. At least in Silicon Valley, that's what it's doing. 5 to 20 books a week, average, depending on the spot. Smartbox goes to Japan. I was just in Tokyo and Osaka, and this is the temple president of Tokyo, Marumango, and this is Srila Prabhu. And we brought a few smart boxes over. You can see the Japanese books in there. We just have to upgrade the graphics a little bit, but it'll go well in Japan. Other countries as well, probably, right? Smartbox goes to the park. There's the Smartbox in the park. See, in Japan, we go out for little picnics and have bhajans and things, and then we set up a table. And now this little Smartbox, just while we were sitting there, it was people were coming over, they'd browse the books, put the money in the box, and walk off happy. Devotees love the Smartbox. Haribo! Questions? Yes, Prabhuji.
Do you ever have to rent the space from the proprietor?
Do you ever have to rent a space from the proprietor? Not so far. We haven't developed that part of it yet. We haven't thought of that. Mostly we're just preaching and finding people who are happy to have them. So, you know, they see it as a community service, really, you know.
I don't know if you do it already, but you can put like a mantra card or flyer in each of the books so that people have directions to the temple.
Does anybody here have a pad of paper and a pen? Okay. Who wouldn't mind taking notes? Because let's, okay. All right, ready? Card box. We'll just write down all the ideas. We have some of these ideas. We have thought of it. And by the way, this is the beginning stages, really. This has just come together recently through stages. And this is a very early stage. There's a lot of improvements to be made. So we'll catch them all as you give them. There was a couple more back here, and then, yes?
How many do you have out in your area and have any been stolen?
We have 50 out in our area now, and none of them have been stolen, nor have any of them lost money. Means neither have they lost money from pilfering, except for the one I mentioned, which we fixed, or from people excessively taking books without giving donations. Yes?
Do you have any areas that you have found best?
Anywhere they'll take them is good. You know, I mean, if people see them and it's on the counter, they just, certain number of people buy them. But let's see, best. You asked a specific question. Yes, some places have been better than others. We've had really good results at restaurants. There's a really high turnover at restaurants. We've had some experience in some stores, like smaller grocers and things like that, that there's been a peak. And it comes to the peak and then it starts tapering off a little bit. But then we're finding little mini peaks also. So we don't have all the statistics, and it's not a totally scientific marketing study yet, but we do have 50 boxes out yet, and we've had really good results so far. Okay, was a couple more back here. Yes?
Now, when you have 50 boxes out there, do you seek or are you thinking of seeking help of the store so that they can call you when it runs out of books?
Yeah, put that down, Mata. Yes, we're thinking of it, but right now the way we're doing it is that the individual devotees are taking care of the boxes themselves, and we kind of like it that way because it gives a project. Part of this is just a really nice preaching program for all the devotees. So like I said, we have 50 boxes out and 30 devotees watching out for them. So individuals who think of it, when you talk about this at your home program or at your temple program, you can mention it and people say, oh, I know a place. They say, okay, you adopt the box. It's your responsibility. You give them all the paperwork, everything they need to keep track of it, which we have in the guide. And then it keeps them engaged, and they're home thinking about it all the time.
So how do you work it out about who buys the books and how do you do individual person then purchase books from the BBT and take care of their box, or do you supply is there a central person
Sure.
who supplies it?
The question was that she wondered how we do the financial part. I mean, whose books are they, and is it temple books or somebody else's books? And the way we do it, everything's centralized at our temple for the book distribution. So everyone goes through one source. We have one fulfillment director, and the book distribution program is in sync with the rest of the temple. We don't like to create an us or them scenario. It's a lose-lose situation. We like to get together with everyone who's got a stake in the temple and talk it over and make goals together and make sure that everyone's on the same page. And now if you don't happen to be in that situation, which a lot of people aren't, then too bad, no. Then, then you have to work it out. You have to figure out, what works best. Individuals could do this or, come up with some system. But I recommend a more unified approach, yes.
So let's say I have 20 such boxes in my city. How much money I can make for 1 month?
If he has 20 boxes in his city, how much can he make in 1 month? So 20 boxes times, say, average 10 books a week, 40 books a week, something like that. We got a lot of engineers here. Go ahead and figure it out. Yes.
Can I make a suggestion? The concept is not how much money you can make, but how many books you can distribute, and the money is really not the goal or the purpose. It's really to get the books out, and if they put money in there, that's nice, so you can distribute more books. If you think like that, it works a lot better.
Well, still, you could make a few $100s, something like that.
I calculated it out.
Yes.
800 boxes. I figured you could manage space like
Okay. Prabhuji in the back. Yes.
I remember in the old days, all the big book distributors used to get sent to the Mayapur Festival. And being that I wasn't a book distributor, just a materialist, and now I'm just a businessman, so the people who sell the most books get to go to the festival.
Okay, yeah. Good idea. Okay, a couple more? Yes.
I don't know how long you've had this program going, and come to think of it, my question's kind of funny because I don't know how you get the feedback, but have you had anybody comment or give you feedback or say something to the store owners about this smart box concept? The reason I ask is because sometimes I suspect it might be a little easier for a person to take a book from a rack instead of being approached on the street where they sometimes feel a little pressurized.
Maybe, yeah. And this is just another approach to cover all angles, because it's nice to make Prabhupada's books visible and available at different places. We have not received a lot of feedback in that way, except we have had people show up at the temple with a book in their hand. I mean, that's some feedback. We had one young woman show up at a Bhagavad Gita class. She was sitting in the back, and I noticed her, and I said, "Is this your first time?" "Yeah." "Do you know about this?" "No." "What's that in your hand?" "Perfection Yoga." "Where'd you get it?" "It was some store." "You bought it at a store." "Oh, you bought it at a store." "Which one?" And we've had a couple of those now. Yeah, so we get some good, yes.
Could you speak a bit about placement strategies and techniques, like close together, far apart, with people that you approach, getting through to the right person to get a yes?
Well, the best person to talk to is the manager. So go in and ask, first of all, who the manager of the store is. The manager is available. And when the manager comes out, we introduce ourselves and give them a card from the temple. And we also bring Mahaprasadam in case the need arises to really grease their palms, And then we tell them what I just told you. It said, we're on this campaign to spread spiritual knowledge because the only thing lacking in the world nowadays is peace of mind and actual, true foundation in spiritual life. So these are books on meditation and yoga and ancient spirituality. And we're presenting them for the good of human society, and we only put the money back into printing more books. And if they seem like they're, usually you'll know right away from their body language. A lot of times halfway through they'll say, sure, go ahead. How about right over here? You want to put that in here, right? Sure, you can put it here. And then we stay friends with them. We bring them Mahaprasadam, things like that. And we have a new idea. We're just starting. As I say, we just got our 50 boxes out by April 15th. That was our first goal. And it was a big push because we wanted to have something, 50 is a significant number. If I said 2 or something, you guys would all leave right now. And I wouldn't blame you a bit. But 50, that's something. So, what was I going to say? I forgot. Yeah, cultivating. So we have this other idea that we have a newsletter that goes out to our whole congregation. So we want to also include in that all the names of the stores, the establishments that keep our smart boxes. And we'll bring that in on our newsletter and say, oh, and by the way, one of the benefits of having a smart box is you go in our newsletter as one of our smart box patrons. And that's attractive too. So these things are evolving, and I'm sure other devotees who get a hold of this will find better graphics, better boxes, maybe all kinds of things. The idea is to get the books out there and do the passive book distribution as one avenue. It's not replacing any other kinds of book distribution, but it adds a lot to the repertoire of your temple. And it's really exciting because when we have our monthly Sankirtan festivals at our temple, then the Smartbox people come in with their results and bags of money and everything like that, and they feel really enlivened, and so do we too. That we have a multi-pronged approach. Okay, let's take 1 or 2 more questions because we're going to move on. Yes.
Would you consider putting such boxes, say, in a bar or in a steak house?
I'd consider it. If Lord Nityananda would go those places, and he might. I've heard he might go to a brothel. I saw Radha Damodar go into a bar. I personally saw it because I lived at the temple in San Francisco. And when Vishnujana came with his bus, they'd take Radha Damodar out on Harinam, and they went down the street, and the deities actually went in the door of the bar right in the corner. So if they'd go in there, these books go everywhere. And if a bar owner would do that, I think that it would be, you're shaking your head, you'd go for it, right? Okay, she would go for it. Okay, let's take 2 more, and then because there's some more material to move on. Yes.
What percentage of business so far have accepted your proposal? 50%?
Yeah, 50%. Actually, higher than that because we're going for the cream. Now we know Indian stores, it's like 9 out of 10. It's really easy. If an Indian proprietor sees the books, their Sukriti level is so high that and it piles higher when they see this. They give us permissions even to set up tables outside their store. And when it gets cold, they say, why don't you come inside? We actually have some of our tables are inside during the winter, right in the store with devotees behind the table talking to people as they walk by. And so the Indian stores are really good, Indian proprietors, and very few of them say no. And other establishments, I'd say it's probably 50-50. It's higher than you'd think. People actually don't mind this. It looks nice. And when you explain it, it's kind of a nice concept.
It doesn't cost them anything.
It doesn't cost them anything, and if you preach to them a little bit and tell them the spiritual benefit they're getting, then they'll really go for it. Yeah. Okay, Maha.
So Prabhuji, which books are the ones which go the most? We have so
Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita sells, we sell a lot of Bhagavad Gita, paperback Bhagavad Gitas. Very popular. Yes. We have, other than English, we put Spanish because we have a large population of Spanish speakers, so we also include those. But we're going to start innovating now. We have some MP3s of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita and music, things like that. We're going to put a few we're just in the experimental stages. DVD. Okay. DVD. Yeah, DVD. That's right. He's coming out, Nrsingananda is coming out to film our Sankirtan Festival this next weekend. So maybe we can arrange to put some DVDs in there too. Yeah. Yeah, the guide to self-realization.
My name's Kamalupati. I live at New Vrindavan here. I originated the book table, the smart table that's you see out there, and that was the so that was inspired by Vaisekha, because he came once and said that the more you show, the more you sell. And then a man came to the temple and asked for a Bhagavad Gita, and there weren't any, and I wanted to distribute books, and so, a lot of times there's no one in the temple, and guests are always coming, so that's how I got it going to begin with. And it's been going really nicely. Like we were talking about this last year in 2006, we grossed $13,000 just coming, just people buying books, and so.
So there's 4 ironclad laws of book distribution. And many of you have heard them before, but we go over these because they're basic foundational aspects of book distribution. The 4 are that your sadhana must be strong. Is everyone paying attention? Because there will be a quiz. Really. Number 2, you must get books. Actually, could we read them together, starting with number 1? Number 1. Your sadhana must be strong. 2. You must get books. 3. The more you show, the more you sell. That's the one we say 2 more times. The more you show, the more you sell. The more you show, the more you sell. And number 4? You must organize. Okay. So, number 1, sadhana. Sadhana has to be strict, serious, and sincere. Prabhupada used those 3 words over and over again about sadhana, because if we don't have the taste from reading Bhagavad Gita, from chanting, then we will not consider the effort to distribute Bhagavad Gita to be very worthwhile. And you can only give what you have. If you don't have that feeling in your heart that this is the most valuable thing, then you can't pass that on to other people. And if I lose my sadhana, I'm not practicing myself, then basically what will happen is I'll start thinking that maybe I'll sell something else or do something else. Something else will look more valuable, because Shraddha, faith, really means where you place your heart. That's what the word means. Shrad means the heart, and Da means to place. So everyone's placing their heart somewhere. The devotees are placing their heart at the lotus feet of Krishna. And when we go deep within our sadhana, then we have this inspiration to distribute books and to see that other people get it. Number 2 is get books, because you can't distribute books that you don't have. And it seems pretty obvious, but actually it's really true. Once you have books in your house, and once you have books in your car, once you have books in your bag, like I was leaving for the airport to fly out here, and I ran out the door because I was a little late, or the cab was a little late, and I jumped in the cab, and then I realized I don't have any books. I ran back in, even though I was late, and I grabbed a handful of Ishopanishads, and I said, okay, now I can go. And on the way to the airport, sure enough, the cab driver, because I said a few Nrsimha prayers under my breath as I was taking off down the road, and he's like, yeah, I'm kind of into this spirituality stuff, what are you into? And it turned out, he was a student of the Quran, and he was interested in universal knowledge about Krishna consciousness and things like that. So, he took an Ishopanishad when I left, and then so did a few other people at the ticket counters and other places. But if I hadn't had the books with me, then, here's part of the quiz. Okay, if I didn't take any books with me, how many would have I distributed on the way here? Let's see, anybody miss this one? That's what you do, get out of here. No, just kidding. No, and if I have the books with me, then something magical will happen, because Krishna is in those books. So get books, get them in your house. If you're distracted by something in your house, like maybe your refrigerator, pile them up in front of the refrigerator. When they're all gone, you can eat again. TV, put them up, and as soon as the kids distribute all the books, they can watch TV again, something like that. Get books, because you can't distribute books you don't have. The more you show, the more you sell. The more you show, the more you sell. 2 more times. The more you show, the more you sell. The more you show, the more you sell. Of course, we can't emphasize this enough because what's up with the, that's funny. Because there's something magical. As soon as people see the books, then they become attracted. There are certain souls wandering the universe. Brahmanda Brahmate Kon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prashade Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij. And they become fortunate. One time I was in Los Angeles getting ready for the Rath Yatra where we distribute large quantities of reservoirs of pleasure. And I was trying to figure out how to get them out to all the devotees in a practical way because we were going to do 3,000 or something. That's a lot of books to carry around. So I put them out in front of the temple right before Mangal Artik, or no, right after Mangal Artik, and devotees were in there chanting japa, and there was nobody outside. It was very quiet and dark still. Except there was one Indian gentleman who was sitting a ways down sitting on a planter box or something chanting japa. And so I took my key out and I cracked open the box of Reservoir of Pleasure and it went pop like that. And as soon as that pop sound hit the morning air, he looked over, just magically, he looked over, like, what is it? And he came over and he looks in the box and he goes, I want one of those. And I was thinking, the more you show, the more you sell. All I did was bring him out there. I didn't say anything, I didn't do anything but open the box and he came over. So if you show them, if you have them available and you make them visible, people will take them. Organization. You have to think about this. Prabhupada asked us to tax our brain. So brainstorm with other devotees. There's so many great ideas of how to distribute books and make some plans. Make a simple plan. And then set goals, create systems and programs, build teams, and encourage the heck out of people. That's one of the most important things. Everybody needs encouragement, so encourage the heck out of people. You can't encourage people enough, right? I can't be encouraged enough. If you want to encourage me all the time, I'll accept it, and I become enlivened by it. How to distribute a book. Use the ripe fruit principle. The principle, pick the ripe fruits, leave the unripe fruits to ripen on the tree. Can we say this one together? Here's the principle. Pick the ripe fruits, leave the unripe fruits to ripen on the tree. Let's try it one more time because it's going to be on the quiz. Pick the ripe fruits, leave the unripe fruits to ripen on the tree. Very good. Okay, how much time do we have? We end at 6, is that correct? 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes, okay. So here's how it works. Now, unripe fruits, if you look on a tree, those of you who have picked ripe fruits before, unripe fruits, or gone fruit picking, let's say, the unripe fruits are sometimes hard, they're dry, they're hard to pick, right? Now, I just happened to snap this photo when we were distributing books in the park, and this guy just happened to be an unripe fruit. Can you tell from his body language? Look at him. He was some kind of born-again Christian, and he had an axe to grind, and he was really letting this devotee have it. And you can see the devotees just sort of standing there tolerating the whole time. But he's an unripe fruit. Now here I'll show you ripe fruits. Soft, juicy, easy to pick. This guy... this is not a setup. You can't make a picture like this. This young man had walked into the Rath Yatra in New York, and he was so excited to hear about the books and to get a book. So here, unripe, ripe. Unripe, ripe. Unripe, ripe. Unripe, ripe. Unripe, ripe. Pardon me?
He even had extra space to carry.
He had even had extra space. He could take a whole set practically. Okay, so the way that works is that if you go out to talk to people, look for the people who are easy to talk to. They have the body language that is open. If they go like this when you talk to them, and they keep walking, so, what is that? You ask me, say, excuse me. Excuse me. Ripe or unripe? Okay, now try it again. Excuse me. Yes, how can I help you? Okay. So just look for the ripe fruits and let the unripe fruits stay on the vine, because what happens to a fruit when it stays on the vine? And how does it get ripened? By the sun. It gets cooked. So Krishna's cooking us all in the material world. And people finally, when they become ripe, it's like, yeah, give me the book. I'm ready now. After 9/11, people were lining up on the street of New York. I had businessmen stopping right after 9/11. They start crying and say, will this help me? Is this real? They wanted to know. They instantly got ripened. So simple things to say. Here's a couple things. Now, guess where I got this one? Who can say where I got this line? If you can tell me that, you win a prize. We're spending trillions to conquer outer space. This book shows you how to conquer your own inner space. Where did I get it? Srivakram Swami, no?
Easy journey.
Huh?
Easy journey.
No, I got it from Peter. Did you say Peter Bosch? Okay, he wins the prize. Here you go. Here's your smart box guide that you helped me. I'll give you something better later, don't worry. Yeah, I just heard it this morning. I said, that's a great line for Sankirtan. We're spending trillions to conquer outer space. This book shows you how to conquer your own inner space. What do you think? That's a winner. You can take that one to the bank. Just take that out, and next time you present a book and just tell them that. Or you can tell them, I say this to people, especially young people who are a little bit, ornery and, they don't want to be told anything. Some religions try to tell you what to do, right? This book teaches that it's you're responsible to look in and find out for yourself. People like that. The body is like the cage, the soul is like the bird. This book shows you how to feed the bird. Simple stuff, really simple, easy things that you can tell people. Now, when we go out, we're ambassadors of goodwill. So, basic rule is when we go out the door, or when we're inside, actually, let's start inside. We start in our own house, in our own apartment, wherever we are. Leave everyone with a good impression. Show gratitude to the people that you live with, the devotees you associate with. Find ways that you can go out of your way to give gifts, to exchange prasadam, to say nice things, encouraging things, encourage the heck out of people. Leave people with a good impression everywhere you go. And leave no stone unturned. How to leave people with a good impression. Then when you go outside to do Sankirtan, it's the same thing. It's an attitude. It's a way of life. It's about being an ambassador of goodwill. That's what Prabhupada was. An ambassador of goodwill. So make this a goal. Leave everyone with a good impression and brainstorm. Try to figure out how to do that. And make people feel special because they are. Everyone's a spirit soul. And if you look in their eyes, you'll be amazed. Because you look and see, wow, there's a conscious living being looking back at me. How did that happen? What is it? It's amazing. Every soul is absolutely amazing. And if you look at people on that level, when you go on Sankirtan and present the books to them, you just, hi, how are you? There's an instant connection when you're thinking like that. And these are basic principles for book distribution that work everywhere, at all times and places. Preaching means giving. We have so much to give. Let's go give it out as much as we can. We got books, the Maha Mantra, prasadam, invitations to all kinds of things, and kindness. This is Jive Doi Krishnanam Sarva Dharma Sar. The essence of religion is to show kindness to the jivas by giving them the knowledge by which they can go back home, back to Godhead. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. This is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. One who's a kind friend to all living entities. That's religion. So that's what we're about. We want to go out and be a kind friend to every living entity that we meet. And that's what our Sankirtan is to take these gifts out and to be kind to people and give them these gifts. And they'll also reciprocate when they see how you're giving. And you don't want anything in return. They'll be so happy to give their whole life. Srila Prabhupada said, be assured that there is no more direct way to preach than distribute Krishna conscious books. Here's Venkatesh. He joined our temple about 1 year ago, and he's a graduate student at Stanford. We're working on his PhD in physics, which is really hard to get into in Stanford. Very bright young man. And he walked into our temple and immediately took to the process. And then he immediately took to book distribution. He's the most focused book distributor I've ever seen. And every time I turn around, he's talking to someone, preaching to someone with such sincerity. He always stays out later than everybody else. And he also, I put him in charge of the Smartbox program. So he's our Smartbox director. And he's making so much advancement by being absorbed in Krishna consciousness. And this is one of our tables. This is outside a Walmart. We get permission from Walmart that most Walmarts will give you permission to set up outside their store. It's in their corporate bylaws. Even in Houston now, they're matching funds with the devotees as they collect outside. Yeah. I'm not lying. Whoever gets a book is benefited. I met this gentleman. I shamelessly put my own picture in here because I had to show this man. This is a Farsi book. I found out from Satyanarayan Prabhu, who ended up as the BBT trustee for that part of the world, that he, actually what happened was, he told me, I'm thinking about printing in Farsi. I said, Farsi, great, let's print Farsi books. I love Farsi people. You know, Farsi people, and I was really, you know, I was all excited. It was in Vrindavan a couple of years ago. And then I forgot all about it. And about a year later, he calls me up and said, okay, we have 20,000 Farsi books. And I was like, I didn't say print 20,000. I was just saying it was a good idea. But anyway, he got on my case and said, you better take some and you better, you know. So we ordered Farsi books. And sure enough, the more you show, the more you sell. This man was so excited. He's from Afghanistan. He saw that Farsi book and he flipped out. He was my best friend when he saw a Farsi book. He wanted to come back the next day and see all our other Farsi books too. And I said, we got one Farsi book, my friend. If he reads the book, he has benefited still more. This young lady came up to our table. We have a table with racks on them where we show the books in front of stores where we get permission. She came up like this and just was staring at the books for about 2-3 minutes. And one of the devotees came over and helped her to make a choice. She happened to choose Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Instruction. For those of you who've been to Vrindavan, it's the most sacred place on the planet. Written by, you know, an eternal associate of Lord Krishna who's come to this earth to impart knowledge about how to go back to Godhead and how to do bhakti yoga and about Radha Kund. Okay, all the way to the highest conception of love of God. She bought that book, and I swear, she stayed there for 3 hours in the same position, right here, leaning on somebody's van. And the whole time we were there, she didn't move. That's why I took out the camera. I said, this is one for the record books. She read most of the Nectar of Instruction. You can see it right here. You can't make this stuff up. It happens on Sankirtan. The magic happens when you go out and try to make this happen. That's why there's never a dull moment on Sankirtan. The souls are amazing that you meet, and it's just wonderful. Or if one gives the book, Prabhupada says, to someone else for reading, both he and the other person has benefited. I was distributing books in the Los Angeles airport, and I met this monk. And I love this picture. You know why? Look at this. United. And here he is, Bhagavad Gita. And I just think Prabhupada's books, they unite everybody. Everyone who gets a book, they become united. And just, I don't know, I get chills when I look at this picture and just think how wonderful it is that, who knows where that book is now? I met him for 2 minutes and asked him if I could take a picture afterwards. And now somewhere, Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is sitting on a nightstand in the top of a mountain in Tibet or something. You know? Even if one does not read the book, but simply holds it and sees it, he has benefited. This is we have a table downtown Santa Cruz. It's legal on the streets. Set up a display. We're there every weekend. And there's one story, I don't have his picture here, but a homeless man bought a full set of Srimad Bhagavatams. After visiting our table week after week, taking the prasadam that we pass out from the table, perusing the books, finally he said, I got to have this. He said, I'm dying of hepatitis. He said, I don't have a home, but I have a locker. And he said, don't give me the books yet. I want to prove my good faith. And he brought $37 first time. Second time he came back, he brought another $40. Started giving him installments of the small Bhagavatam. He's got them all now, and he wants the Caitanya Charitamrita. He carries them around in a Safeway bag and reads them sitting in the park. He's dedicating his life. He's got neck beads now, too, by the way. So if you go to Santa Cruz, if he simply gives a small donation toward the work of Krishna consciousness, he has benefited. So this is Madhukanta, the very saintly devotee who was with us in San Jose for a long time. And there are a couple other young ladies with this mother and daughter here, and after he got the donation, he taught them the Maha Mantra. This is one thing that we do. After people buy the book, we say, do you believe in the power of prayer? And people, 9 out of 10 people say yes. And we say, well, let me teach you this beautiful prayer. It's in Sanskrit. It's a prayer to God, how to wake up love for God in your heart. And then we say, repeat after me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. We do that, we give them a card with the mantra and tell them to follow along. And afterwards, you know, everything changes. So afterward, these young women, they learned the mantra and they said, what does it mean? And I was listening to Madhu, a very saintly devotee. And so I was listening in, what's he going to tell them? So they said, what does it mean? And he goes, it means, I need help. And the next day I was chanting my japa and I was thinking, I need help, you know, Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada continues, so let us cooperatively work together. This is an example of cooperation. This is Rakshit Jariwala's garage. He happened to have a big garage, and so he volunteered to put our books in his garage while we were moving from our storefront temple, which is now changed into a cigarette exchange. They needed to get us out really quick, so very important. Now we moved to a little larger place, and Rakshit put the books temporarily in his garage, but then when we came to move them out, he said, we'd like to keep them. So he became fully involved as our fulfillment director, keeping the books in his garage. And he lives in a suburban area. On weekends, when all the devotees come up, we call it Sankirtan Central, you see cars parked up and down his street with the trunks open and people carrying boxes out. It looks like somebody's doing some deals out of his garage, you know. If they only knew Rakshit Jariwala, he's a PhD upright scientist and everything. To vigorously spread Krishna consciousness to suffering humanity at large. And this is in our little temple at ISKCON Silicon Valley. And this is during the morning of one of our monthly Sankirtan festivals. All the devotees work together to stamp the books, to pack the prasadam. And when everyone's working on that, everyone's happy. Whatever I had to say, I have already said in my books. Now you must all try to understand it and continue with your endeavors. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Quiz. I said. I warned you guys. Okay, number 1, list the 4 ironclad laws of book distribution. Okay, number 1. Strong sadhana. Anybody disagree? Get out of here. No. Okay, number 2. Get books. Why? You can't sell books, you can? Okay, number 3. And is this the one we repeat 2 more times? The more you show, the more you sell. The more you show, the more you sell. And number 4. Get organized. Okay, very good. A+. What is the ripe fruit principle? Pick the ripe fruits and the unripe fruits? No, wait, let me see. I'll make it true, false. True or false? The unripe fruits, you grab on as hard as you can, pull it until you can't pull anymore, hopefully to break the branch off. True or false? False, okay. Okay, number 3, name one new thing that you learned today that you will take with you. Smart boxes. Anybody else have anything else you're taking with you? That's good enough. Be kind, okay? Any more? The more you show, the more you sell. What else? What is it? Preaching means to give. Anything else? Buy books. Faith is where you place your heart. Nice. What else?
Amazing. Every soul is out there.
Every soul is amazing. Yes. Given everything, they'll carry on cooperatively. Nice. Okay. So, yes.
The value of a moment's association with a dedicated book distributor.
Jai. That's your blessings on me. Hare Krishna. So, you can go to distributebooks.com we have some information there. For those of you who have visited before and it looks the same, it is. We haven't increased it very much, but there is still some good information there, and we will be soon making progress and making some major upgrades. Also, Friends of the BBT is a new website that you can visit. It has lots of information about book distribution, new projects, ways you can help, get in touch. And I have the Smart Box Guide here, which has in it step by step how you can get your own smart box, how you can install it, how you can involve others. And then it has an appendices that has the actual model numbers of the boxes and everything else. Yes?
Do you give hints of what to tell, ask people to?
Yes. Talking points, everything's in here. In fact, if we forgot anything, let us know, because we'll upgrade this also as we go. So we're really looking for comments. You can get in touch with me. My card's inside here, and also at the website. You can give us feedback. And I have about 30 of these, and that are in a cover, and 10 more like this. So let's just pass these out, if you don't mind. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
More than 30.
More than 30? Really? All right.
Fight over.
I have extras here. You just don't get the fancy cover, that's all. Here, could you take these? Because I don't want to pass out the ones without the fancy cover and be blamed for it.
I have a suggestion as far as when you price the books. I found it works better to have a whole number, not just like $1.95 or $2. It makes it easier.
Okay.
People don't think, they have to look for change or something.
I want to thank you very much for coming. And we're just going to have a 2 or 3 minute bhajan. Was there enough for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you start out with a couple dollars first so people can see?
Yes. This is also in the manual. We've tried to think of everything in the manual, but we do put a few dollars in the box to start off with, because when they see it, then they know immediately what they're supposed to do. And a lot of those details are in the manual. I didn't cover a lot of them because they're in there. And there are a lot more details there. And if you think of things, please let us know. Doyal Nitai Caitanya Bole Nacharayar Marmon Nacharayar Marmon Doyal Nitai Caitanya Bole Nacharayar Marman Nacharayar Marman Nacharayar Marman Nacharayar Marman Nacharayar Marman. Now Nacharayar Marman Nacharayar Marman Nacharayar Marman Nacharayar Marman Doyal Nitai Caitanya Bole Nacharayar Marman Doyal Tona Hai Doyal Tona Hai Eman Doyal Tona Hai Mar Ke Prema De Eman Doyal Tona Hai Mar Ke Prema De Doyal Nitai Caitanya Bole Nacharayar Marman. Gotta get this part done. Get this next part. Doyal Nitai Caitanya Bole Nacharayar Marman. Watch. Nacharayar Marman. Nacharayar Marman. Nacharayar Marman. Nacharayar Marman. Now. Nacharayar Marman, Nacharayar Marman, Nacharayar Marman. Need more hands clapping. Doya Nitai Caitanya Bole Nacharayar Marman. Ore aparad dure jabe pabe prema dhan. dure jabe pabe prema dhan. Vichar to na hai, vichar to na hai. Oh name aparad, vichar to na hai. Oh name aparad, vichar to na hai. Doya nitai Caitanya bole nachariyar marman. Doya nitai Caitanya bole nachariyar marman. Nachariyar marman, nachariyar marman, nachariyar marman, nachariyar marman. Bolo nachariyar marman. Nachariyar marman, nachariyar marman, nachariyar marman. Doya nitai Caitanya bole nachariyar marman.